What's up? It's Alexander Madison, running back from the Minnesota Vikings, and you're watching Clock Management.
Knocked down. Oh, he caught it! Oh, unbelievable! This is amazing. So you played in the NFL. What's longer, a half or 5/8? Or 5/8 is a little longer there, Joe.
Your team is now on the clock. Hey everybody, thanks for joining us. It is March 5th, 2020, and I am Justin, and as always, I'm joined by Perry.
You know, Justin, they say Disneyland is the happiest place on earth. Clearly, they have never spent any time with you.
Hopefully they have.
Hopefully they have.
Yeah.
I know, but hopefully not too many because I'm pretty jealous and I want you all for myself.
I appreciate that, but we probably shouldn't be doing a podcast if that's the case.
All right, cut it. End it now. End it now. We're done. It's been a good ride.
Yeah, so before we even get into what's new with us, what do we have in store today, Perry?
Oh, in store. We have some news to cover. Right now, everything's there's like a bubble, right? It's like the housing market bubble, and that bubble's about to burst with information as soon as free agency hits. We're still just a little bit away from free agency hitting, so I know as soon as that happens, the news segment of this show is going to be huge. But as for right now, it's mostly just rumors, expectations, that sort of thing, nothing too concrete. And then today's episode is 2020 busts, way too early busts. So Justin and I have some players that we've selected that we think are probably going to be drafted too high and aren't going to perform up to their draft value. So I know in my case, not necessarily, most of these guys actually will probably have decent seasons. I just believe they're being drafted far too high. So we're going to talk about that. And then I believe Justin also has some brief XFL news to talk about.
Yeah, and news no one cares about.
Of course. I just didn't mention it because nobody cares.
Oh, man. And I got some other news that I'm going to cover right now before we even get into the show. A big shout out to one of our former guests, Samuel Wallace, because he just had his first child. Congratulations.
I know. Congrats, man. That's exciting.
Yeah,
Very
I'm
happy.
super happy for him. Yeah. What's going on over there, Perry? Anything, you got any news of your own?
Not a whole lot. Just been working a lot. I am very excited to see you this weekend. Coming over, play some board games at my house.
Yes.
I'm going to share some of the whiskey I've been making at work, so that'll be fun. But yeah, other than that, man, just kind of on the grind. What about you?
I'm actually going to be, well, first of all, I got this sweet sign that I just got behind me. Got to get this hung on the wall eventually.
It is very cool.
Yeah, and then I got, this weekend, obviously, going to try out some of the whiskey from your work, which I'm excited about, play some board games, and I'm hitting up one of our previous sponsors, which was a brewery, and getting some compensation in the form of beer from them.
Compensation. Beer compensation.
That's the best kind.
It's not a bad kind, that's for sure.
And most importantly, we're giving away this Ricky Williams autographed jersey. So,
I know. We haven't done a giveaway in a while. I'm excited about this one.
Yeah, me too. And I figured that was a cool one. I know last episode I said Kareem Hunt. We're going to push that one to next month. We'll do that one next month. We'll give this away this month because I just think it's such a cool jersey and a cool guy.
What do you have to do to win, Justin?
Man, thinking about it now, though, I probably should have saved this one until 420 and given it away then. Horrible planning on my part.
What do you have to do to win?
Just leave a comment, man. Just subscribe to our podcast on YouTube. We appreciate that. And leave a comment,
Yeah.
We want to know what you guys like about the show, what you don't.
You are entered every time you leave a comment, correct? On each episode going forward for the rest of the month?
Absolutely. One entry per episode, though. You can't leave 100 comments on one episode because I don't want you copy and pasting the same comment 100 times.
All right, man. That was going to be clever use of game mechanics. So
I know.
I was going to do it.
That's why I had to jump in there.
Yeah, so leave a comment on this episode and every episode for the rest of the month. You'll be entered in each time you leave a comment on an episode. So, hey man, if you watch all the episodes this month, leave comments. You'll be entered multiple times. Have a chance to win it.
Yeah, I'm super excited. Let's get into some news.
Let's get into some news, man. Melvin Gordon is expected to hit free agency. Not a huge surprise, right? The Chargers did not want to pay him last season. He tried to hold out. That didn't work. He came back. He played okay. Certainly wasn't the Melvin Gordon that we had grown accustomed to. I do think Melvin Gordon still has talent. I think Melvin Gordon still is going to be productive if he lands in the right spot. He'll only be 27 years old when the season starts. So I guess it's kind of getting up there for a running back, but still, he could have 2 or 3 good years left in him. So I'm curious.
I think that a big thing too was because of his holdout and the Eckler being so dominant is why he wasn't as relevant this year, because they didn't need him.
Not to mention the Chargers just weren't very good last year, and I personally don't ever want to draft a running back on a bad team unless that running back is Saquon Barkley. Melvin Gordon was a running back.
I'm gonna give you a second
team.
caveat on that one for Christian McCaffrey.
I mean, the Panthers were better than the Chargers, though.
Absolutely.
But yes, you're right. So Melvin Gordon, a couple landing spots I was thinking about. I think the Texans possibly would be a good spot for him to land. The Patriots might be a really good spot for him to land. I think that the Patriots might be shifting things around, and they could reduce the amount of running backs there. It's probably going to be a good call if they want to get win without Tom Brady there. And I'm telling you, Tom Brady will not be there. Just saying it right now. And then maybe even if he were to land with the Colts and reunite with Phillip Rivers, there's a lot of places he could go. Did you have anything in mind for him?
I do, but I'll talk more about that later.
Okay. Frank Gore plans to continue playing in 2020, Justin.
37 years old.
Yeah. Frank Gore currently doesn't have a team. The Bills are not going to bring him back. I'm wondering if a team is willing to go get him. There's very low risk with signing Frank Gore. He doesn't have a very storied injury history.
He's never been injured in his entire life.
Frank Gore has a lot to offer a team in just experience. So I'm curious to see. Maybe he'll go sign with a contender, try and get this man a ring for crying out loud.
If the Patriots do want to continue their running back stable, great guy just to throw in the mix.
No kidding. He's reliable, at least, right? If you need 3 yards and you do not need him to fumble, Frank Gore's your man. Jimmy Graham not expected back in Green Bay. I think this was kind of expected, considering that the Jimmy Graham experiment in Green Bay. I wouldn't say it didn't work out, but I don't think it worked. He was good enough for how much he was costing them. So if you want to look at it that way, then yeah, it didn't work out. But I mean, he was fairly good, fairly productive. Maybe not so much for fantasy, but I expect Jimmy Graham to probably land with another team, and depending on where he lands, you could be looking at a startable tight end. I'm not totally sure, but we'll see.
I mean, maybe definitely a streamable at least. If you're hurting for a tight end for a week, you're gonna be able to throw him in, depending on where he lands.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I can't really think of somewhere that would really work out for him off the top of my head. But Jimmy Graham, the best fantasy tight end over the decade, actually, if people believe that or not, beat out Rob Gronkowski. So
yeah, that's crazy.
Dak Prescott is expected to receive the franchise tag from the Cowboys. This blows my mind how they are unwilling to pay Dak Prescott. What else does this man have to do?
Yeah, but they did pay Zeke.
I know, it's crazy to me. It makes absolutely no sense.
I was just thinking about how, when a new running back or whatever position signs a new max, high contract, they're reset the market. And I feel like Todd Gurley, when he got his deal, he reset the market for running backs. But I felt like it was a lesson learned where you would think people would be like, this did not work out.
The Chargers refused, man.
Yeah, that's true. But you're still seeing it happen today. There's And people are expecting Derrick Henry to get a deal like that now, and multiple others.
I just don't know how you could expect how a team could expect to pay a running back that much money and then continue to be successful. The team, that is.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense. I feel bad.
I
right?
know I'm biased as a 49er fan, but I love like how we have a stable of running backs that all seem to do very well that are not being paid, except, I mean, we have one we're paying that hasn't played.
Jerick McKinnon.
Yeah, but he hasn't played.
Big deal. And Tevin Coleman is costing quite a bit as well. But
yeah, but when you look at their relevant running backs, it's neither one of those guys. So I feel like those are lessons learned. Let both those guys leave and let these other guys come in and earn that, earn their role.
Sure. Jameis Winston is likely to leave Tampa Bay. Peter King wrote that Jameis Winston probably won't be playing in Tampa Bay next year. I did hear a very interesting thought that what if Jameis went to the Patriots and got to play with Bill Belichick? Do you think Bill Belichick and Josh McDaniels might be able to turn him around? Because he's clearly got an arm. He clearly is talented. Maybe he just needs somebody to rein him in a little bit, right?
Yeah, I mean, I would love to see it because this is like the whole thing I was saying. Like, I would be excited for Tom Brady to leave New England so we could see like if Bill Belichick and his systems are like that, it was the key to success, or if Tom Brady's skill and he was just the talent that led to the success. So I would love to see that so that way we could get a definite answer. I think that would be great for him.
Yeah, that'd be really fun to see. I completely agree with you on the Tom Brady Bill Belichick thing, though. Like, both of them seem to think that they're the reason. Let's see, man. It'd be really funny if Tom Brady went to somewhere in the NFC and then Bill Belichick and the Patriots make it to the Super Bowl. Tom Brady makes it to the Super Bowl. And then all of a sudden, Bill Belichick and Tom Brady are back in the Super Bowl, and everybody's upset because we'll never escape this Groundhog Day scenario.
I love it. There's also been crazy rumors that I've heard about the 49ers should try and get Tom Brady. I think that's ludicrous, and it's not going to happen.
There are a lot of people that think that, and that Jimmy G should be traded to the Patriots. I mean, I don't think it's as ludicrous as you say it. Like, it might happen. Bill Belichick wanted Jimmy G to be his quarterback.
I know that. I just don't think that Kyle Shanahan is going to make a move like that.
You're probably right, but I will say that I think the 49ers win that game if Tom Brady was their quarterback.
Oh, I agree.
So, I mean, if you look at it like that, Super Bowls are all that matter at this point. I don't know. It's interesting. It's an interesting thought. Right now, my money is on Tennessee for Tom Brady, but
oh wow,
oh well, yeah. Let's move on to the news nobody cares about.
Oh, I can't wait.
Oh,
all right. So first, in news no one cares about, we're going to continue talking about these broadcasters where we left off because Tony Romo signed a $17 million a year deal with CBS, and a lot of players were not happy about this.
You think Dak Prescott would like that money right now?
Yeah,
maybe Dak Prescott should go
be a broadcaster.
Yeah, be a broadcaster and push Tony Romo out of that job too.
Give him a few years. Oh man. And continuing with the broadcaster talk, this free agency is crazy. Now there's talk of a trade in the broadcasting business. ESPN's working on a trade to get Al Michaels over to them for Monday Night Football and to sign Peyton Manning to a $20 million a year broadcasting gig.
I love it.
Reset the market again, Peyton.
I'm sorry if all of you can hear that dog barking. I'm really sorry. My neighbor, she has a ton of dogs, so it's all I can hear right now. And
I hear it. It's quiet in the background and
okay.
stuff.
I'm very sorry to all you devout listeners.
But yeah, I mean, if they were upset about the $17 million deal, wait until a $20 million sign the same year.
Peyton, buddy,
man,
do it.
I love
it, dude.
Dude,
actually,
I'm not
Al
upset.
Michaels and Peyton Manning on Monday Night Football would be amazing.
Yeah,
get Booger out. Get him out.
Yeah, where's he gonna go? XFL probably could use him. We'll get to them.
I like it.
But yeah, originally CBS offered the job to Peyton Manning first for $17 million, and he turned it down. Was it because he was already in talks for a $20 million deal?
Maybe. That'll be fun to watch. I like Peyton Manning a lot. He's a funny guy.
And then a video went viral with Tom Brady, Jimmy Fallon, and Julian Edelman sitting courtside at a college basketball game, where someone asked Edelman about Brady, and he said he'll be back. And then there's all sorts of rumors about what Tom Brady said. You could see his lips move, but you couldn't quite hear what he said. And people are saying some said he said "stop it" or "I'm not." And
Probably stop it.
well, it turns out like someone talked to Tom Brady afterwards, and it turns out he didn't even hear Edelman talking to this person, and he was actually talking to somebody else, and he said go for it because they were talking about a game that they were going to be playing in.
It's hilarious. Did you also hear about the same night Edelman FaceTiming with Mike Vrabel?
No.
And they were all talking. Mike Vrabel, head coach of the Titans, of course, but also played 10 years with Tom Brady, and everybody's like, this is collusion, it's tampering, Mike Vrabel should be fined. It's like they're friends.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't be surprised if Mike Vrabel was in Tom Brady's wedding or something. Like they're friends.
I doubt they even discussed where Tom Brady would be playing.
I doubt it as well.
And Tom Brady's a free agent, so he could talk to him about playing there if he wanted to.
Not till free agency actually opens, but
oh yeah, okay,
yeah,
fair enough. But I mean, people posture on. If he wanted to, he'd be putting stuff out social media. I just don't think that's. I don't think he would be breaking any rules. Why do that? You don't need to.
Yeah.
And then last piece of news no one cares about, Dez Bryant. So the Cowboys owner, Jerry Jones, said he has been thinking about reuniting a lot with Dez Bryant while he was in the shower.
That's not exactly how it was said. It said,
but all those facts are correct.
It's like a shower thought. Everybody knows what a shower thought is. But yeah, it was a really weird thing to say.
Yeah, why mention the shower portion? It didn't need
Jerry
to be
Jones.
said.
He wants you to picture him in the shower. Yeah, now you're picturing Jerry Jones bathing. You're welcome. You're welcome, America.
Nobody wants to do that, Jerry Jones. Nobody.
You wonder how we got the coronavirus. Sorry. That's just...
Oh, man.
I've got terrible taste in jokes.
I forgive you. I'm usually the one with those. So I appreciate someone else taking that role for once.
Today's my Friday, so, feeling a little loosey-goosey.
All right, so now we're moving on to some XFL news. Not so much news, just I'm going to go over now that we got, I think we're this week 5 now, we're going into. So we've kind of established some top players now. So I feel like it's a little more, you can actually analyze things. So I'm just going to go through the positions and the top tier players from each position. Sorry. And,
you okay?
Yeah. Let's not go back to that joke.
Need a Tums?
So first, tier 1. So this the quarterbacks right here. You got the top tier of quarterback has been set, and there's one quarterback there. That's PJ Walker. He started off hot. He's continued it. He's the clear number 1 quarterback in the XFL at this point. He's just been tearing up the XFL. Then if you drop down the next tier, you got Josh Johnson and Jordan. I'm going to slaughter his name. Ta'amu, something like that.
Pretty good. Ta'amu is what I would say.
Thank you. That's what I assumed, and I'm but I don't know the pronunciation. So, but yeah, those are the next 2, and then you start dropping down to BJ Daniels for Seattle. Probably the next one after those guys, which I'm happy to see him starting. He's kind of a fan favorite in Seattle, and he wasn't their starter week 1. Then for the running backs, this is awesome. The top running back, in my opinion, at this point is Cameron Artis-Payne. He's kind of established himself as one of the best running backs in the XFL. So it's good. Like me and you were talking about how we both really liked him in the NFL.
Yeah, for sure. I did like him. CAP, is that what we used to call? I don't know. Maybe I used to call him
that. Cap.
Cap.
Lance, and then Lance Dunbar, who's another former NFL
name.
player.
Yeah, that's another name.
So it's good to see those guys like making a name for themselves, and they're the clear like two best running backs right now in the XFL. You drop down from there, and you got the next group of guys. It's kind of, these guys are all pretty similar to each other in that next tier. That's Donnell Pumphrey, James Butler, Matt Jones, and Devon Smith, which those guys are all suitable if you're starting them week to week. The outside of that, it starts getting sketchy. And then wide receivers, that's the last ones. Nelson Spruce, he's killing it from the Wildcats. He's my favorite wide receiver going into this week. Cam Phillips from Houston, he's actually outscoring him, but for the season. But, I mean, he's got P.J. Walker there throwing him the ball, so that's probably why. Both of those dudes are, like, clear top fantasy purposes for XFL. And then, really, to me, outside of that, you start getting inconsistencies. Wide receivers there. It's been kind of rough. I don't really blame the wide receivers so much as the quarterback play in the XFL. We need to see an increase in talent in the quarterbacks in the XFL.
Do you think DeAndre Hopkins is just trying to get more football in, and he joined the XFL under the name DeAndre Tompkins? Because, I don't know, that's looking pretty suspect to me.
I mean, I'm not ruling it out. Just get some extra work in there, warm up before Sunday.
Yeah, old DeAndre Tompkins over here.
Though I would expect the stats to be a little bit higher, but then again, like I said, the quarterback play.
He's only played one game. He had 18.7 points, man.
Yeah, I would expect more.
Well, he's like sandbagging a little bit.
Yeah,
people might be like, "Hey, that's DeAndre Hopkins."
It's like a Pro Bowl game. He's going at about 60%.
Exactly. And I'm just saying, somebody might want to check that.
Yeah, I'll look into it. I'll see what I could do. See if I could get some inside information on this.
Thank you, because I'm actually wondering.
The people want to know.
The people want to know.
And
the people have spoken.
Perry.
The people's Perry. It's Perry, not
people.
Terry. All right. Well, should we get into these way too early busts for 2020, Justin?
I feel like we have to at this point. We already told everyone we were going to.
I know, right? And I have nothing else to talk about. So let's jump right into it. Do you want to go first, or you want me to go first?
I'm gonna kick it off.
Go ahead.
I'm excited.
Hopefully not with a kicker, because nobody cares.
Okay, I'll skip that one. All right, so my number one bust, and like, oh man, okay, so my number one bust is pick number 25 currently in consensus, and running back 12, and that's Todd Gurley.
Way to go out on a limb on this one, buddy.
I know. So this is my thing though. Like, I thought he'd be a bust last year. I think you did too. I would say we were right on that for where he was being drafted. And at this point in his career, he's extremely touchdown dependent compared to where he was a couple of years ago. And my thing with Todd Gurley is he has extreme arthritis in both of his knees. We talked about this last season when we had, oh my God, I'm drawing a blank on his name. Your buddy, our doctor, Dr. Ben on the show. Like, it's just going to get worse for him. Like, his knees are not going to magically get younger and healthier. They're going to continue to get worse. Arthritis doesn't get better with time. It's not like these guys who have a torn ligament who take a season off and then they're healthy again because it healed. It's not going to get healthier. So I think it's going to continue to get worse for him. He had 400 less yards this past season than the year prior. He had 5 less touchdowns for a guy who's touchdown dependent at this point. That's not good. He had more fumbles, which I think is because he's not so like he's being hit more than he's hitting people now. Like he used to run people over. Now he's starting to take some of the blunt of those. And then also he's behind what was ranked the second worst offensive line in the NFL. None of that is good news for a guy who doesn't have the explosive speed that he once had. So I know, like, it's like, yeah, no one's expecting him to be the Todd Gurley of old, but I don't think he's going to be a number 1 running back this season, which is where he's currently going with as RB12. You know, I foresee him as being a fringe, like, RB3.
I don't fringe as in possibly not even an RB3 or an RB2-3.
No, I'm saying
I think
like
he's
bottom
easily an
tier
RB3.
3.
Because
I don't think you could depend on him to finish a season. And that's my thing is he also has that injury risk. And I know I'm more out on an island on this one, but I'm willing to plant my flag on this island. Like I truly believe that he is being way overdrafted, or will be.
I think he is being way overdrafted, but to say that he's not going to be startable, I don't think that's
week to
really
week he
feasible.
will.
Because
I just think that he's going to miss games.
I mean, he didn't miss a single game last season. He stayed healthy all season.
Absolutely, but also he's, like I said, it's going to get worse every year for him from here to the end of his career.
I think that he's easily like a high-end RB3. I think that's I would not advise people to, like, if you could get Todd Gurley as your RB3, I think that your team's probably going to be pretty solid. But you're not going to. You're not going to. Like, that's definitely true. But I think calling him possibly like not even a startable running back is a little bit too dangerous.
I think week to week he'll be startable. I just don't depend. I'm not depending on him to stay healthy and to produce every week.
Okay. My first running back bust is going to be Aaron Jones, actually, going quite a bit ahead of Todd Gurley. He's currently the 7th ranked running back on the board. Aaron Jones, 58% of his non-PPR points last year were scored in just 4 games. So very, very top heavy, basically. A little boomer bust. He had 19 total touchdowns last season. Really hard to repeat those kind of numbers. It is very easy to predict regression when we're talking about touchdowns. It's a little bit harder when we're talking about yards or touches or that sort of thing, targets. But when it comes to touchdowns, it's really easy to predict that Aaron Jones probably won't score 19 touchdowns again. I do think that Jones will have another solid season. I think that he'll be owned. I think that he'll probably be an RB1. But right now, the 7th ranked running back, I think he's going to be closer to probably like 11th or 12th. I think that he'll be kind of like that low end RB1.
Yeah, I think I currently have him at 9 in mine.
Yeah, I fully expect the Packers to go find another pass catcher, whether that be another wide receiver to help out Devontae Adams or Austin Hooper. Right now is my favorite bet. That they're going to go get Austin Hooper to replace Jimmy Graham. Austin Hooper is going to take a lot of the load off of Devontae Adams, providing another target for Aaron Rodgers. I think a lot more of those touchdowns are going to go through the air to those guys rather than on the ground to Aaron Jones. I still think Aaron Jones will have a solid season, but with Jamal Williams there, I mean, he's clearly still got a job. Aaron Jones is only on the field like 60% of snaps. That's not really what I'm looking for when I'm trying to, predict a productive number 1 running back. I want that guy on the field as much as possible. So Aaron Jones currently being overdrafted. Hopefully he slips to you at like that the turn right there, 11, 12. If you can get him there, great. I think you're happy. But if you end up drafting Aaron Jones at like the 6th or 7th pick, you're I don't think it's going to work out for you. I don't think you're going to get the value there. I think you're going to have like an Alvin Kamara season like we had previously, right? Alvin Kamara still had a very productive season in 2019. It was still good, but he wasn't I drafted him third in our league. So he wasn't the third overall pick, clearly. So
Yeah, no, I do agree. I agree with all that. I have them slightly higher than you, but I completely agree with everything you said.
yeah.
No, so my next one is very similar to yours because
Can I guess?
Go for it.
Derrick Henry.
No. The reason why it's similar is because of the backfield with the amount of carries, and that's pick number 36 off the board currently for consensus rankings, and RB16, which is Melvin Gordon.
It is really high for Melvin Gordon.
Yeah, because let's say he stays in San Diego, they are still talking. It's a possibility. That's not a good situation because they still have Austin Eckler there, and that will be a split backfield similar to what you're talking about with the 60%. And it may not even be that high for him. So
probably not with Austin Eckler there.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like that high of a pick, like you need him to be your RB2, which means you need him to be consistent and like putting up points week to week. He may not. He may just vanish for an entire week or two. And he is efficient with the carries he gets, but I mean, if he's only out there for 50% of the plays, that consistency isn't good enough for you. And I do like, he's a great pass catcher. He's a versatile running back. But we don't know where he's going to go. So like he could end up on a bad team where he's just not going to be able to get it done behind a bad offensive line. And I agree with you, Perry, as you were talking about earlier. I think that the best possible landing spot and where I hope personally he goes is to the Texans. And then I think he could live up to this value, but that's like, you're hoping for his peak if you were drafting him here, and you're not getting that most likely. Like betting odds aren't on that's going to happen as the most likely situation.
Another good landing spot for him would be the Chiefs, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Yeah. He needs an offense that can really move the ball. Because you're right, he can totally catch the ball in the backfield, and he's really productive in doing that. But he needs an offense where that is actually going to happen, right? His best years were when the Chargers were able to move the ball with Phillip Rivers, and last season it just wasn't happening. So Melvin Gordon just kind of got left in the dust. And what you brought up earlier with Austin Eckler being like just yoinking that job out from under him because he refused to show up to work. So
yeah, that happens.
Yeah,
that's why you show up to work. Yeah. So that's my guy, and like I really like Melvin Gordon. I just think that he's in a bad situation right now to be ranked that high.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's a little too high. Him being above like Mark Ingram right now, Kenyon Drake, Devin Singletary. I mean, I might put him like maybe around like 20, 21 when it comes to running backs, but being at 16 is a little high. I agree. My next running back is Raheem Mostert. This one's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of interesting. He's not ranked particularly high, but the reason I'm concerned about Raheem Mostert is because of the really explosive playoff run that he had. And kind of that did bleed into the regular season a little bit. But I don't think Raheem Mostert's going to get the like bulk of the work there. He might, get over 50% of the snaps. That's fine. Okay, I guess technically he got the bulk of the work, but again, it's not something I really want to rely on. He only received 15 touches total twice in his big run at the end of the season there, and one of those was the NFC Championship game where we all saw what happened. He completely dominated that game. I mean, he gets a lot of credit for it, but honestly, I think it was the offensive line that really dominated that game.
I think that's the case in San Francisco in general.
Yeah, absolutely. He only had 17 total receptions for the entire season. I mean, if you're expecting the production that you got from him in the playoffs, we all watched that, right? Nationally televised games. I just want everybody to realize that Raheem Mostert isn't what you saw in the playoffs. So when you're drafting, keep that in mind. If people are really excited about Raheem Mostert, let them be excited about him. You need to realize that this guy was an average running back for most of the season and then got thrown behind an incredible offensive line. His other running backs that he was fighting for time against got injured, and it was a perfect storm for him. So you should hype him up to your draft mates, but keep in mind that you probably don't want to draft him very high.
So there are like, I do disagree with you on a couple things, which I do think that he has potential to repeat that, but a big but is I do not see that as being a very likely situation, because it's similar to New England, where they have a stable of running backs, and at any given day, it could be any running back's game, and he could just not be on the field for an entire game.
I do have in my notes here that if Coleman or Burita were cut, or both of them,
Or
I would
McKinnon.
well, McKinnon is a non-factor, but I would completely reevaluate my Raheem Mostert ranking. But I mean, that's a big if, right?
Yeah,
I mean, one of them might go, and then I'll move them up a little bit.
Don't think McKinnon's a non-factor, though. I think with the way San Francisco does things, there could be a game where if he's still on their team, which I don't anticipate, but if he is there, then there could be weeks that are just a McKinnon week.
There could. Absolutely, there could, but I don't think McKinnon will be there. So that's
Which I agree with you on. I also don't think they should keep Coleman, though. So we'll see what they do.
But I'm just saying, would you be surprised if Coleman's healthy all season that Raheem Mostert gets like 6 or 7 touches a game max?
I want it. Like,
right?
I'm not taking the risk on Mostert or any San Francisco running back.
Right. I guess this is kind of a cop out calling him a bust because he isn't ranked super high, but
I'm just avoiding him.
I feel like people are going to be very excited about that name, especially if they haven't been keeping up this whole offseason, or they didn't keep up all during the regular season. They just see, oh man, he dominated the NFC Championship game. There's no way that guy's not good.
I literally had someone come to me at work today and ask me specifically about Mostert and what I thought about him going forward, because they're like, "Did you know he's been on 5 teams?" I'm like, "Yes, I knew this. Like, of course I knew this. Also, you should not be looking at him. Stop that."
I think I would take Mostert in around the 8th or 9th round. Right. So I've already got my starters solidified. Now is where I'm looking for that depth. Okay. I would consider taking Mostert there. Clearly, whatever happens during free agency is going to factor in a lot. But that's when I would start looking like, okay, well, maybe now I could throw him on my bench. And if he does end up getting the job there, then great. I'm happy. But if not, then I don't, it's no skin off my back. I'll just go ahead and cut him.
Yeah. And I mean, we'll probably get more into this later into the season, but I tend to go more running back heavy early this year because I think you get better results with the strong wide receivers out there. So I probably won't end up with him on any of my teams.
Yeah. Cool. All right, let's move on. Let's do our wide receivers, Justin.
Speaking of strong wide receivers, I'm going to give you some weak ones. My first one is Keenan Allen. And I have absolutely, I should retract that last statement because I have absolutely nothing bad to say about Keenan Allen here. Keenan Allen is a beast of a man, a rock star, an amazing just wide receiver in every sense.
One of the best route runners in the league.
Yeah, and I love him, and he put up great stats. Unfortunately, his quarterback is gone, and he
put up great stats despite Phillip Rivers having one of his worst seasons ever.
Yeah, and I would take that Phillip Rivers over whoever they bring in at quarterback, because I don't think that they're gonna be running with I'm drawing a blank on his name. I keep forgetting it.
Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna run with Tyrod Taylor for this season.
I don't know if I completely agree with whoever. I think there's a lot of good free agent quarterbacks out there.
Yes, that's true.
But yeah, I'm on board with what you're bringing.
Yeah, there are some quarterbacks out there, Tom Brady, that could probably give him great value. And so, I mean, but currently he does not have a quarterback, and he is going as pick number 33 and wide receiver 14. That he's going to have to come down on that board for me to consider drafting him. I like him probably more towards the back of the second round more than the front of the second round. And like I said, I love him as a player. Just his situation there is so bad with that and the poor offensive play from last year as a whole that I need something positive to happen before I could justify that.
Yeah, I think that's a good call. I think right now Keenan Allen is a very high candidate for a bust. But like you said, if Tom Brady walks in that door, Keenan Allen for me is going to go up the rankings higher than where he's even at now.
Absolutely.
Just because he's such a good route runner and Tom Brady is a very precise thrower of the ball. That could be really good. I see Keenan Allen as like a better Julian Edelman, a much better Julian Edelman.
Yeah,
so
I think he's exactly like Julian Edelman, just more physically gifted.
Yeah, definitely. So that's a good one. That one's really popular right now. My first one, I think this one's going to piss a lot of people off. Devontae Parker. Devontae Parker, I do not understand why people are so excited about Devontae Parker right now. He's currently the 18th wide receiver. He's ahead of Stephon Diggs, Tyler Lockett, Calvin Ridley. That one is why is Calvin Ridley a tier 4 receiver? Anyways, one season a career does not make. All right. Devontae Parker has been in the league since 2015, and for all intents and purposes, he's been considered a bust, a draft bust, an NFL draft bust. But his 2019 was incredible. I do hope that he is able to repeat some of that performance from 2019. But the quarterback questions on his team are, they're big. Obviously, Fitzmagic's coming back, which is good for Parker. But how long do they keep Ryan Fitzpatrick at quarterback? And they're going to draft a rookie quarterback here. How long do they wait, right? Are they going to be losing terribly, so they just decide to get this guy some work? That could be it. And then the pressure is really going to be on Devontae Parker because he's going to be the number one receiver for a rookie quarterback. He's supposed to help that rookie quarterback. I just don't think that Parker has shown us anything in his career to make us believe that this is the norm, right? I think that what we saw in 2019 is the absolute peak of his career. I just think that Devontae Parker is going way too soon. I would put him below a lot of the guys that I read off. He's on a bad team. It's blowing my mind that everybody's willing just to buy in immediately when, for 3 years previous, he was horrible, a horrible receiver. And he has one good second half. 2019 was a good second half of the season. The first half of the season, he was okay. So
yeah, but that's what people have in their memory was the end of the season when he was killing it, and that's what's driving that price up. No, I agree with you 100% on that.
Yeah, if somebody told me I had to put my next paycheck on Devontae Parker either repeating what he did last season or going way closer to what he did 3 seasons previous, I would have to bet against Devontae Parker.
No, I don't blame you on that at all. Man, here's my next one. Will also make a lot of people upset, so let's do it. Let's just piss everybody off, Perry.
Let's do it.
Amari Cooper. So he's currently pick number 23, wide receiver 9.
Where's he going to play?
Yeah, that's the first point. Like, where does he play? Is it for the Cowboys? Who's throwing him the ball? Is it Dak? I mean, they still need to figure that situation out there. There's a lot of question marks there. And then does he stay healthy? Because, he stayed pretty healthy last year, but that hasn't been his career. Is he consistent? Because that has never been him, ever, including last year. And if he's your wide receiver 1, and there's weeks where you're not sure if he's on the field because he's getting you 0 points, you're probably not going to be too happy. And you're choosing him, like, in the top, like, wide receiver 14, so wide receiver 1, maybe wide receiver 2, depending on how you draft your team.
No, Sorry, he's a wide receiver 1. He's going at 9.
Oh, 9? Oh, he's moved.
Yeah,
Oh, sorry, I looked at the wrong one. Yeah, wide receiver
14
9.
overall.
Yeah. So wide receiver 9. That's horrible. You do not want him there. I'm telling you. His draft value is second round. Like, he's going to vanish. There's going to be weeks where you're not sure if he's playing or not playing, and he's made a career out of this when you could go get players. Like, his whole career, the number 2 wide receiver behind him has outperformed him. That's been his MO. Like, that's probably going to continue here in Dallas. So
Let me ask you, Odell Beckham or Amari Cooper right now?
Odell
Situation. Beckham. Yeah, I completely agree.
And you know how I felt about Odell Beckham last year.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I was hugely against
agree.
Odell Beckham. And I'm telling you right now, I'd rather have Odell Beckham than him. And I don't think Odell Beckham's in a great situation, but I'd rather have him.
Yeah, that situation's improving though, but we'll talk about that some other time. Okay, I'm going to take this one. I couldn't believe when I was doing my research on this one that this one was going to be so easy for me. But it's AJ Green. AJ Green currently is ranked higher than Terry McLaurin, Jarvis Landry, Michael Gallup.
Went on this one, and I was like, I gotta leave this low hanging fruit for Perry because I know his hatred of AJ Green.
No, I don't hate AJ Green.
No, you hate him for fantasy purposes.
Right.
Like, you don't hate him as like a human being or a player, or you just hate how his value always stays.
The hype around AJ Green right now is only going up. It's only going up, and we don't even know who is going to be throwing him the ball, Joe Burrow. But but AJ Green, just to be clear, didn't just miss all of 2019. He has not played a full game since week 8 of 2018. And I understand that he was doing very well for those first 8 games of 2018. But it's been a year and a half for this 31-year-old wide receiver who is the same age as Des Bryant.
He had the most games or most 1,000-yard seasons up to that point, and then it was just a steep fall off.
I'm not saying that AJ Green can't be productive again, but the fact that he plays for the Bengals,
I'm going to.
And the fact that he plays for the Bengals, that he's coming off a year and a half of not playing football, I don't expect the Bengals to surround him with a situation for him to be successful. They are going to give him the franchise tag, is what the rumors currently are. If they do that and then pull the trade, so they franchise him and then trade him, and he goes someplace where they can surround him with a team that can support him and use his talents correctly, then I think AJ Green could have a very good season.
If he stays healthy.
If he stays healthy. But I'm not expecting him to stay healthy. I said it last summer. I said that AJ Green would not play a single game in 2019. And yet every week people wanted to say, oh, this week might be the week that AJ Green comes back. And here we go. He didn't play all 2019. And we're back into the offseason, gearing up for 2020. And people are already moving him up draft boards like he's going to be AJ Green again. This one is easy. Just do not draft AJ Green at all.
No,
and you're going to be fine.
These wide receivers have there's like a cliff that they fall off of, like, fantasy wise, when, after a certain point where they start having these injury problems. And especially like these bigger bodied wide receivers. And like the AJ Green was getting near this cliff, and he's like, let me look off the edge of this cliff. And he went to look off, and he slipped, and he fell down that cliff. He is gone. Don't look back. He's not there. So don't get him.
People currently ranked below AJ Green that I would take before AJ Green: Terry McLaurin, Jarvis Landry, Michael Gallup, John Brown, Deebo Samuels, Christian Kirk, Marquise Brown, Robbie Anderson, Marvin Jones. I would take all these guys before AJ Green.
You could keep going for probably 20 more, and I will still agree with you.
It's pretty wild. It is actually wild.
Yeah. Oh, man. Okay, well, I'm going to get into some quarterbacks here. And I cheated a little bit on this one, Perry.
How dare you?
I know. I already went with Amari Cooper to piss off the Cowboy fans. I'm going to double down on pissing off the Cowboy fans, and I'm going with Dak Prescott because, as we said, who is he throwing the ball to? Is he playing for the Cowboys? Like, these are all questions we still have. Like Dak is currently QB5 in consensus rankings.
Mm-hmm.
And do you remember Dak before Amari Cooper was there?
Yeah, he was always like QB 10.
Yeah, right around 10.
Yeah.
And that's like where I am expecting him to be this season, because we don't know who he's throwing the ball to. We don't know if Amari Cooper will be there. We don't even know if he'll be on that team, Dak himself. And that's like, he's going in the 6th round when you could be getting guys like like the draft pick, the same round, right around the same area as him. You could be getting Kyler Murray, David Montgomery, Russell Wilson. Like, these are players I would way rather depend on week to week than Dak Prescott in this season. Since bringing Amari Cooper there, he had 1,300 more yards in a season, 8 more touchdowns, and threw less interceptions, and even had less sacks because he's able to get the ball out of there quicker. And without that, I expect all of those numbers to go back. And even with Amari there, I don't expect him to have the season he had last season.
Yeah, I think what we saw from Dak Prescott last season was his absolute ceiling. That was his absolute ceiling. And I don't expect a repeat performance of his absolute ceiling. I think Dak Prescott is a very good quarterback. I think he'll continue to be a very good quarterback. And I think that if you could get him at what he used to be at, right, around 10, you're going to get a great value. But that's what we were saying last season, right? Oh, we love Dak Prescott because you're going to get great value. He was drafted so late, he did so well, and we were dead on about that. But now he's moved up to this it's this weird I don't know, like no man's land, where I'm not drafting a quarterback in the 6th round. I'm just not going to do it. That doesn't make any sense. If you're not getting Lamar or Mahomes early, right? I think there's viable strats there where you take one of those two very, very early in like the 1st or 2nd round. That might work out for you. But if you don't do that, you just go ahead and settle in on drafting wide receivers and running backs and take a quarterback in like the 10th or 11th round.
You're looking for the Dak from last year.
Absolutely.
Not Dak this year.
You go grab, let me take a look here. You go grab Matt Ryan, who's currently 11th. Drew Brees, who is 10th.
I love Drew Brees this year.
Aaron Rodgers, who is currently ranked 9th. So it's not worth it to take Dak Prescott right there when he probably is being drafted at his ceiling, and he probably won't perform at his ceiling again.
And I personally have Kyler Murray and Russell Wilson both ranked above him, even at his ceiling.
Yeah. Okay. I only have one quarterback. You have two?
No, that's it. That's
okay. You said, I'm going to get into my quarterbacks. So I was like, all right. This one is going to sound crazy, but it's Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson is my quarterback bust of 2020.
I'm so happy about this. I almost did this one, and I was, oh man. So yeah, get it.
It's like you're talking to Bo. Justin's dog's name is Bo. Anyways, so last season, Patrick Mahomes showed us that repeating as the God tier #1 quarterback is very difficult. And I'm not going to say that Pat Mahomes had a bad 2019. He had a very good 2019. He's clearly top 2 quarterback in the league. He's #1 for me personally. But Lamar Jackson repeating the performance of last season, oh boy, I would be very surprised if that happens. Lamar Jackson threw for 36 touchdowns and rushed for 1,206 yards. Both of those are incredibly high numbers for any quarterback. I understand that he's a mobile quarterback, but there's a reason he set a rushing record last season. It's a record. It's not supposed to be broken every single season, and I don't think he's going to break it again this season. I think that his rushing numbers are going to be closer to 850 or 900 rushing yards, which is fantastic. The rushing yards for a quarterback are incredibly valuable in fantasy, and therefore he's still going to be very valuable in fantasy. His passing touchdowns, I think, are going to drop closer to like 28, 29, maybe 30. I think 30 would be a very good passing season for him. But I think it's going to be closer to like the 28 number with 900 yards rushing. He's still going to be like a top 3 quarterback. Don't get me wrong. But people are going to be drafting Lamar Jackson in the first round. And if you draft Lamar Jackson in the first round and then he ends up being the 3rd best quarterback, Deshaun Watson currently is being drafted in what round, Justin?
Probably, I'm going to guess 4th.
Yeah, probably the 4th. Let me see if I can find it really quickly. I'm not seeing it right now. Yeah, but Deshaun Watson, who's currently ranked 3rd, is probably going in like the 4th, maybe even 5th round. I would much rather take Deshaun Watson in the 5th round, which I won't personally because that's just not how I draft, than blow my number 1 pick on Lamar Jackson, who's going to end up being just as good as him, right? Still very good, but just as good as the guy that you're getting 4 rounds, 5 rounds later. So if that's the case, you draft him in the first round, but he ends up being 5th round value, that is a bust. That is a 100% bust. And that's where I think Lamar Jackson might end up if he doesn't get injured.
And this is exactly what I was saying with Dak. Like, we told you to draft Dak last offseason. Lamar Jackson was another one of the quarterbacks we talked about drafting that could have a great season. No one anticipated him to have the season he had. I'm not trying to say we predicted him to break rushing records. Nobody did that. But we did expect him to have a great season, and he is being drafted super low. That happens every year with quarterbacks. You can find super low ranked quarterbacks that are going to have a huge season. And so, again, you want to find the guy who is Lamar Jackson from last year. Don't draft the guy who's already built that hype up on him in a position where it's so volatile, where you could get a player for super cheap.
Baker Mayfield in 2019, guys. Baker Mayfield was like a top 3 quarterback pick for a lot of leagues in 2019. He is currently the 18th ranked quarterback.
Now, I disrespected Baker Mayfield a lot last season.
I would rather draft Baker Mayfield at that value than Lamar Jackson.
All last offseason, I was disrespecting Baker Mayfield with where I had him ranked, and I did not disrespect him that much.
Yeah.
So that is crazy for me, like that he's number 18. I do expect him to progress. They got rid of the court. We'll get more into quarterback play and who we expect to do good, but that is crazy to me.
Yeah. I think I would rather say that Baker Mayfield will be a top 12 quarterback than say Lamar Jackson repeats what he did last season. I think that's a way safer bet.
Yeah, I would rather bet on him being a top 12 than Lamar being a top 2.
Top 2, I don't know if I go top 2, but I would say repeating the performance.
Oh no, because there's no ways repeating it.
There's no way.
Top 2, I think he has a decent chance to do that, but I think Baker has a better chance of making top 12 than he does of being top 2.
It's not crazy. Baker Mayfield's an incredible value right now, quarterback. He'll go undrafted in a lot of leagues.
Yeah, man. All right. Well, that was a lot of fun.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah. What are we doing next week?
Oh boy, I got to pull up the schedule here. Give me just a half a second. Justin, talk about something interesting.
Yeah, so make sure you guys subscribe to us on YouTube. Also, I forgot to mention this at the beginning for some reason, but we're also on Spotify, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. Make sure you guys do that and follow us on all social media. We're everywhere. Instagram, you see it at the top. Twitter at the top. And I heard that we got some shirts for sale at the link that's posted down below. So make sure you guys hit those up. They're super cool shirts.
They're actually really cool.
Yeah, actually, I don't even get them for free. This is crazy. But I actually just bought my own. Bought my own shirt. Cool. So,
and it's the best way to support us. It is the best way to support us. So if you want to support us, please go out, check out the merch. And then next week is way too early sleepers. So kind of the opposite of today.
Yeah, I'm super excited for that. And to get into Baker, man. Baker. We might be talking about Baker next week.
Yeah. Shake and Baker.
All right, guys. We'll see you next week.
Bye.